Let's go. Welcome back into the Squishy Sport Podcast in the continuation of my NRL Season Previews for 2026, going through each team, giving you 2 each week for the upcoming 2026 NRL season. I get it, we're still in 2025, but we've pretty much got your top 30s, all the squads, all the draws are out, and I think I've really got some good analysis on the teams coming up. Going to give you my ins and outs for those teams in 2026, along with their predicted 1 to 17, any sort of changes I would make as well, looking at the rest of their squad. And then looking at their draw as well that they've got coming for the upcoming year. And this one here, we have got the Dolphins for 2026. So last week I did the Seagulls and I've done the Raiders. Today I'll have the Dolphins coming to you. I'll also have the Warriors as well coming for you. Literally doing this in no particular order. I asked ChatGPT, give me 2 random NRL teams to do a preview on. And these are the 2 that just spit it out. So doing the Dolphins and the Warriors today. The Warriors will be in another podcast coming out at the same time. But without further ado, let's get stuck into the Dolphins. So 2026. So a team that finished 9th on the ladder last year. They have been in the NRL now for 3 years, finishing 9th 2 years in a row. And this year, you really did feel like they had their chance really to play finals footy. Well, at top 4 after 11 and 12 rounds, Izzy Katoa was up near the top of the Dally M's. He was absolutely flying. And then their defense just started to falter just a little bit at the end of the season. I'm not saying a little bit, actually did falter quite a bit near the end of the season and just kind of stopped them from making a top 8. But first year under Christian Wolf, spent 2 years with Wayne Bennett there at the Dolphins as an assistant coach. Now got the full reign. I thought he did quite well in his first year, and I think they've got a lot to have a look at for 2026. So I said last year they finished 9th, and if you've missed my NRL ladder prediction video for 2026 a couple weeks ago, I had the Dolphins coming in 10th. I honestly think, similar to this year, it'll be really clustered from 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. It's just where the Dolphins can get over that hurdle once again, coming to the end of the regular season. I do just have a couple other teams that I just think will probably finish in that 7, 8, 9, 10 position. I said if you haven't watched that video, you've got the Eels, I think will potentially make the 8. You've got Souths up there as well, those sort of teams. You've just got a kind of couple. It's really hard to predict, right? But I don't think the Dolphins will be bad. Like last year, this year they won 13 games, lost 11. I really did think they lost a couple of games that they probably should have won there as well. But looking at their stats from this year, attack absolutely had no issue. They had the best attack in the comp, scoring 721 points. A couple times this season they put up 50 burgers against teams. I think they did it 2 or 3 games in a row. They're absolutely flying on attack. In defense, they were the 11th best in the comp, so conceding 596, and as I said, near the back end they really did struggle, conceding plenty of points. They're having absolute shootouts against teams. So points differential was plus 125, and as I said, coach is Christian Wolf. To the end of 2026 he's contracted, so I assume they're going to probably see how they go at the start of this year. I would think he's going to get an extension unless it's an absolute disaster for the Dolphins. I really rate Christian Wolf. Had a lot of success with St. Helens in the Super League. He went 3 comps in a row with them. Now he's come over as an assistant coach to Wayne Bennett. He's led him up in the NRL. Now he's got the full reign. Now he's in his second year, so second year syndrome. Really built this team quite well. And if this team can avoid injuries, just like any team most year, I do think this team can have success. I've definitely rethought about, been rethinking this, ladder position 10th from a couple of weeks ago. I definitely can see them playing finals footy next year, but then I can also see them, not having as much success. Maybe they finish a bit lower. So I do think 10th is still about right. As I said, it's just a prediction that could be absolutely so wrong. And I'll do a video at the end of the year where I review my ladder predictor, and I know it'll be absolutely way off, but I do think the Dolphins made some really good signings going into next year. I do think they're missing a couple guys as well. So going into 2026, we'll start with their gains that they've got. Obviously, their marquee signing for the 1 year is Selwyn Cobbo. an absolute star player, right? Super talented. For me, with Selwyn Cobbett, it's just whether he can put the work ethic in to really be the player that as talented as he is. Origin player, representative, absolutely dominate at that Origin level as well. Had an ankle injury near the end of this year, for the Broncos, which brought him out for the last sort of 5-6 weeks and also that final series. Now he's off to the Dolphins for 2026. Whether he's in a center position, in a wing position, I've got him in the centers. That will be another story. I think he can be very effective at center if his defense is also good as well. They've also got what I really like the signing, Morgan Knowles from St. Helens. If you didn't watch the Ashes, he was starting for England, I believe, at that lock role for England. And I thought he was quite solid most of the Ashes there. Now he gets his opportunity to come to an NRL club. He's reasonably young as well, really good talent. Signed a 2-year contract with the Dolphins. I think potentially near the end of the year, he could be in a starting role. Not sure what position, whether it's an edge rower or in that lock position. I've got him, you'll see later on, coming off the bench, but I do think he'll be quite handy to definitely have and a really good addition in the Dolphins. They've secured Brad Schneider from the Panthers as well. Really key backup, really just a nice backup half to have, right? I don't think he'll be starting the year with the Dolphins, not like he was with the Panthers. But if there is an injury to like an Izzy Katoa or like a Cody Nikarima, he can easily slot into this role, and you can have full confidence Brad Schneider will get the job done. And they've also secured Sebastian Stewart from the Knights for 2 years as well. Little handy signing there as well. Going through their 2026 losses, there is quite the list here as well. The two big key ones is Kenny Bromwich, not as more as a physical impact on the game, just more like a leadership thing, right? We know Kenny Bromwich and his brother were the marquee signings for the Dolphins coming in 2023. Not because of their size and the physicality they brought to the game, but the actual leadership and the experience that they had coming from the Storm, winning premierships, now coming to a new club, and they've completely brought that. Now that he's retired, obviously he's going to enjoy his retirement, but I do think that is kind of a big loss leadership-wise for the Dolphins, but we know that Izzy Katoa has taken the keys now to this team. I think he is now mature enough that he can lead a team around his park. Now he gets a full opportunity in 2026 to showcase that. Max Dine, another guy that's quite talented. He's off to the Titans. Just probably didn't quite get his full opportunity at the Dolphins there. Just a couple players that were ahead of him. Harrison Graham, a guy I really like. He's off to the Knights. A really young talent that's coming through. Can play that sort of that lock/14 role really well. So good addition for the Knights there. A guy like Josh Kerr. Josh Kerr is awesome, I thought, for the Dolphins the last couple of years. He's off to the Dragons in 2026. So they've signed replacements to fit him, like a Morgan Knowles kind of guy. But Josh Kerr, off the bench, was unbelievable, I thought, for the Dolphins in the last 2 years. Marky Nichols, the Pirate, has retired as well. Started for the Dolphins in a lot of games this year. Pretty good addition. As I said, I think they've got a pretty solid 4-pack, though. I think they'll be okay. A guy like Sean O'Sullivan, he's gone down to the Doggies. Really handy replacement that the Dolphins had in their starting lineup when Cody Nikarima got injured. Even potentially like a JMK got concussed or something. Was quite handy to come off the bench when needed. A big one as well. We haven't seen him play too much NRL, but All Blacks Tawa is heading off to the Broncos. This kid is going to be absolutely awesome as a front rower for the Broncos. A big loss for the Dolphins, I thought, and a really good pickup by the Broncos. And then the other guys, you got Mason Teague, Junior Tupou, just didn't quite get clicking at the Dolphins. They're coming from the Tigers in 2025. Just never quite got his opportunity, never quite clicked, I thought, with the Dolphins. So he's off to the Roosters next year. Big one for them. They have re-signed Herbie until the end of 2027 as well. Literally one of the best centers of the game. I am still shocked he didn't get Dally M Center of the Year. I get it. He got injured in that Warriors game. He is still the best center in the game, in my opinion, there. They've got a few guys coming off contract, but I'm pretty confident they'll be able to re-sign them. Looking at the best 17 and the rest of their squad, going into 2026. We've got obviously your main sort of bunch, but we have got a couple changes there. So at the back, I've kept Hammer there at fullback there. Look, I would not be shocked if at some stage of the season, maybe they fit in like a Trey Fuller back into fullback. He's so handy to have at fullback. Runs plenty of meters, which is something that Hamiso doesn't quite do. But Hamiso's talent and ability around the ball really does create that shiny light around him. Maybe there is an injury along the lines where Hammer goes into centres and then you get Trey Fuller at fullback. That would be a really good combination. Your wingers are Jermaine Asako and Jack Bostock. Jermaine Asako, literally like one of the leading point scorers in the NRL most years. Jack Bostock, one of the incoming talents that we've got in our game, suffering an injury this year. Hopefully he'll bounce back. I really rate Jack Bostock. Really like this guy. Got really good size and he's really matured quite well in the NRL as well. And then in your centres, you've got one of the best centre combos now pretty much in the comp, Herbie Farnworth and Selwyn Cobbo. Holy dooly. You just got to think now, like looking at this attack, like best attack this year, now you've got Selwyn Cobbo and Herbie in your centres who can easily offload it to Asako or Bostock. I'd say Cobbo will be on the right with Asako, Herbie will stay on the left with Bostock. That combination with Cobbo and Asako on the right is going to be deadly. Now they've got a dual threat like centre and wing pairing on both sides that Izzy Katoa can go to. Then you've got Hammer floating at the back. This team is going to be awesome on attack as well next year, I think. In the halves, I've kept them the same as this year, mainly Cody Nikorima and Izzy Katoa. Cody Nikorima, a guy that you thought was just sort of in and out of the NRL teams, just sort of floating around. Now he finally got his opportunity in that starting spot, and he just grabbed it with both hands in the last couple of years. Awesome to see for Cody Nikorima, a guy that's been around in the NRL for quite a bit now, a few teams now, Broncos, he's at the Warriors as well. Now he's been at the Dolphins. Really happy for Cody Nikorima. I think he continues his opportunity at 6. But as I said, if there's an injury along the line, or maybe he's not in form, you've got a guy like Brad Schneider there. You've got a guy like, not Sean O'Sullivan, but you've got a guy like Brad Schneider there ready to go. 7 and the captain as well. You've got Izzy Katoa. That is an absolute no-brainer. This kid is the absolute upcoming talent in the NRL, if not one of the best talents going on in the NRL at the moment. But a future NRL Origin star for New South Wales. This kid is unreal. If the Dolphins are to have success, this kid has to be on. Absolute love Izzy Katoa there at 7. In your forward packs, this is a really good story. So you got Daniel Saifidi, a guy that started at prop quite a lot for the Dolphins this year. Don't mind Daniel Saifidi. He does a job. He gets in and gets out. But the return of Thomas Flegler. This is awesome. Fucking so awesome to see. He's been out the game for, close to 2 years now. Completely missed this year. Missed a lot of last year. So good to have Tom Flegler back in the but in the NRL. Maybe he gets back in the Origin arena, but as a leadership point of view, he is immense. So good to have for this Dolphins side. Obviously, nearly winning a premiership with the Broncos in 2023, scoring a try for them. Went over to Dolphins. Fortunately, had that injury with his sort of neck. Now he's looking like he'll be returning from round 1. Such a good story. So happy for Tom to be back in the NRL. I don't think there's anyone actually complaining as a fan of any team that he's back. So good to see Thomas Flegler. In your second row, this is a bit of a tricky one. The first one I think is pretty easy. Like on your left edge, I've gone for Tom Gilbert. Absolute beast there. Started a lot of games for the Dolphins last year before getting injured again. I think he'll start round 1 for me this year. I do think he fits into the best 13 for the Dolphins. Definitely the best 17. The other side is tricky. You got guys like your Kafusis. You could put Morgan Knowles there if you want. You got Finay Fuiaki there as well. Very sort of interesting, right? At the moment, I've gone for Kafusi just to sort of get the hard work done, and then maybe bring Finay Fuiaki on as a bit of an impact player. We know Finay Fuiaki can go 60, 70 minutes, so I'm not opposed to either of them starting. I've just got Kafusi there starting the year. And then at 13, I've gone for Maxi Plath. This guy is an absolute workhorse. You got to love Maxi Plath. Suffered an injury this year, but Maxi Plath is an awesome player. Future Queensland star for mine at that lock role. Love Maxi Plath, the work that he puts in. Can play number 9 if he needs to as well. He'll play absolutely anywhere if you need him to. And of course, number 9, one of my favorite number 9s in the comp, actually, Jeremy Marshall-King. One of the underrated signings that from 2023 from the Doggies came up from Bulldogs. And you thought, okay, he's had an opportunity in the NRL. He's not too bad. He'll kind of get the job done. He's absolutely exploded at the Dolphins to become one of the best 9s in the comp for mine. If he can just stay out of injury and stay not concussed, he's such an integral part of this Dolphins attack. Absolutely love JMK. Absolutely no-brainer for me, starting him at 9. Crossing to your bench, and I said a bit of a tricky one. There's a couple players you can kind of, put in here. 14, not a change for me. Kurt Donahue. I absolutely love Kurt Donahue. Can play the number 9 role. He can get in the middle, play that lock role if you want. Can play number 6 if you want. All around that, Kurt Donahue, one of the best young talents coming into the comp. You got Francis Molo there as well. Really good talent as well, coming off the bench. And then, as I said, you got Morgan Knowles and you've got Finefeuaki there in the bench. I'm not opposed to Kafusi coming off the bench. I'm not, that sort of thing. I can probably see Morgan Knowles round 1, just probably easing into the NRL a little bit, get his opportunity off the bench, maybe plays a couple games in Q Cup. And then I said, finish off number 17, Finefeuaki there. But as I said, the rest of the squad is looking pretty good, honestly. I said, you got guys like your Brad Steins. You got guys like Trey Fuller, who have not even in the squad. He's a guy you can put at 17 in that 17 jersey if you didn't want to go like a 3-forward bench. I said, you got Kurt Donahue there already. Maybe rely on JMK to play 70 minutes, and then you can get Maxi Plath in to play 9 for 10 to 15 minutes while he goes off. Then you can somehow get Trey Fuller on. I'm not quite sure. You got guys like Jake Everillo, who I never really rated at the start of this year. Then he really came into his own. I remember seeing him against the Panthers this year live, and he absolutely brained it against them, tore them apart. Really good talent, Jake Everillo. But unfortunately, you got a guy like Selwyn Cobbo and Jack Bostock in the team. Jack Bostock in the team there now. That kind of probably pushes Jake out of that 1 to 17, but it's hard to leave him out. I think he'd start in a lot of NRL teams for mine. Guys like your Ray Stone, really good handy player to have. Oren Keeley, he's off to the Storm in 2027, really good player as well. Sebastian Sewer, really good talent. Connolly Lemuelu. This 1 to 17 doesn't even have Connolly Lemuelu in it. As I said, you've got guys like Morgan Knowles, Finefeuaki in there, like Kafusi. Maybe in the some way down the track, like Kafusi's not in that team anymore. A guy like Lemuelu, what a talent. How many times did he come on to that off the bench and score a try, score 2 tries? He's absolutely immense for the Dolphins there. You got guys like LJ Nonu, and then a winger that really came onto the scene this year. One of my favorite players, Tavita Nafahu. Absolutely love this kid. If there happens to be an injury to Asako or Bostock, Tavita Nafahu will come in, 100% do a job. He was an awesome talent to come into the NRL this year. One of my favorite players that came in. Awesome. As I said, that's a really strong squad that the Dolphins have. If they can combine this all together, there's no reason this team can't be playing finals. And I've said this in my previous podcast when I did my ladder predictor. It's not about, I think the Dolphins will struggle. I just think potentially there's honestly like 9 other going to be good teams in the comp that just finished a little bit better than them. I really do rate this Dolphins 1 to 17, and the rest of the squad that they have got good depth there. But I don't think it's a matter of struggling. Would I be shocked to see them at the top of the ladder after 11 rounds again? No, not at all. It's just how the team goes, come Origin time, without no Hammer. Maybe there's no Cobbo there. Maybe there's no Flegler there as well. Maybe Maxi Plath is in the squad as well. You just don't know. But as I said, they've got the talent in that squad there to fill the spots that they needed. It's just putting it all together, and the defense has got to be fixed up. If the defense can get fixed up, this team can go a long, long way. And Izzy Katoa getting the keys now to that 7 role and the whole team. If he can, I think he's 21, 22 now. If he can really take control and say, no, this is my team, I think he can really take this team to a really different level. I'm really intrigued to see it. I don't mind the Dolphins. If they can finish inside the top 8, I think it's really good for the NRL, particularly with new teams coming in, knowing that 3 years in or 4 years in, a newer team can come and make the finals. As I said, they finished 9th the last 2 years. So I don't see them being an absolute train wreck whatsoever at all. I just see the Dolphins being like probably above average, maybe just not quite finishing it off, but would not surprise me to see them win a lot of close games, just about a bit more experience, and maybe they do finish in the top 8. So we'll see. Just means for me, like when I did it, like if they're going to finish top 8, who drops out of the top 8 for me and won't be there? So yeah, it just sort of comes down to that. But looking at their draw, they've got a pretty favourable draw. They were in the top 5 easiest draw side when I did my reaction to the draw video a few weeks ago. Out of the 12 home games that they have, they've got 9 at Suncorp, just 2 at KO, which I find odd, and 1 in Darwin. They play a couple on Thursday, 4 on Friday, 3 Saturday, and 3 Sunday. Not having to do too much travel distance, sort of right in the middle. Obviously, being a Queensland team, you're going to have 2 games against the Titans, the Cowboys, and the Broncos. And then you got 2 games against the Warriors as well. They also have to go to Sydney quite a bit as well. They do have to play, as I said, the Warriors twice, the Broncos twice, and the Sharkies twice as well. So not only 3 teams out of the top 8 that they have to play, so not the worst draw. As I said, one of the easier ones. In the bottom 8, they play Souths, Cowboys, Titans. So they play the Roosters twice as well. They play Manly twice as well. So not that bad. There's some winnable games in there. They play the Storm at home. They get the Panthers at home as well. They had those 2 fixtures this year, and they absolutely smoked, absolutely brained them, which was so good to see. They get 2 home games to start the season against the Souths and Titans, so easily could start the season 2-0. And they get 3 pretty favourable buys as well. Round 6, round 13, and round 21. Round 21 is really good. Just before, 6 weeks before the finals. Really gives you that good opportunity to have that break. Come in 6 weeks to go before final footy and ramp it up, and get a good chance to ramp up your 17 before you start playing finals footy, get that intensity going. So do really like this draw for the Dolphins as well. No 3-game road trip for them as well. I don't think they have a 5-day turnaround as well, which is really good for the Dolphins as well. But I said, do not mind this Dolphins team whatsoever coming to next year. It's just, for me, a matter of fact, finishing 10th. And I just look at the other top 9 that are predicted. I just think they're just going to be that little bit better. Not about the fact that Dolphins will be worse. I can just see it. It's just a really high level playing field, I think, in the NRL next year, which is really exciting for the comp. That's why I've got Dolphins finishing 10th. I do think there's definitely 5 or 6 teams that can obviously falter in the comp next year. I just think instead of like a top 8 clear-cut teams, or even top 6 that we had 2 years ago, I think there's going to be like a top 10 teams similar to this year. And like 7, 8, 9, 10 are going to be really battling it out for that top 8, which is really exciting for the comp, as I said. But that will do it for my Dolphins season preview for 2026. Remember to give the channel video a massive like, podcast a massive like, and the channel a massive subscribe as well. Nearly at 50 subscribers, which is literally the coolest thing, right? Starting this channel from 0 subscribers a few months ago, bringing up to 50, reaching out to you all. Super cool. Remember to follow all my socials at Scooshy Sports as well. Nearly at 200 on TikTok followers, which is really cool. Always active on like X/Twitter, Instagram, posting daily reels as well. So really cool engagement heading into the new year. Absolutely pumped what I can bring for you guys in the new year as well. But thank you so much for listening and watching, guys. As I said, that is my Dolphins preview 2026. Let me know in the comments of YouTube what you would change. Where do you see this team finishing as well? But as I said, thank you so much for watching, and cheers.